Welcome back, dear friends. It's ever so exciting. 3 weeks on, and I've completely got my mojo back now. I'm not having to force myself to try and work down here in the workshop. I want to do stuff. It's an absolute joy. And yesterday I got through the whole day without having to lie down at all. Carried on working. It's so exciting. I can't tell you. It really makes you appreciate your health. So, to get on with it, and I apologise for the tonsorial inelegance. I did mean to do something about it once I was better, but now I'm better, I've got too many other exciting things to do. So sorry about that. Today I'm going to start preparing for Whitby, which is on the 10th and 11th of February. It's the first show we've done since before the pandemic. And that again is also very exciting. I'm going to try and stop saying exciting so much because it means ferrying, packing up and ferrying everything up to Whitby, which is a beautiful town in North Yorkshire, I think. And then setting it all up and showing people all the machines working and also possibly selling some of the kits and stuff like that, which is great over a weekend. Lovely. But in order to do that, I need to safely be able to transport things such as the ukulele machine, which is new obviously. With the Is It Time for Tea machine, you can just see there, I made a nice solid cardboard box reinforced with wood and foam padding and things to take that around, and somewhere in there is the epizooscope, again in a sort of reinforced cardboard box. But with the ukulele playing machine, which as you know is absolutely huge and weighs a ton. I had to weigh a ton, or ended up doing so, because if you remember I started off by making the base from some nasty, cheap, expensive B&Q wood, but it all bent after I'd started tensioning up these drive belts. So I had to build it from much more solid, heavy wood. It's got a stand on the back that folds out so I can stand it on the table at the show, but equally it's got 3 keyhole fittings so it can hang on the wall. So I need some way of building a box that can slot into and that allows me to easily move it about. There's the original base. It was just so bendy. 24 hours after I'd sort of tensioned those things, the belts, it had all warped and everything. Oh, there's another project I've got to do. These were the developmental ones in the reciprocating chronometer. And I thought I'd get them all working and all finished properly so I could sell them, but I haven't got around to quite doing that yet. And obviously I'd like to take them to the to Whitby. Anywho, back to the ukulele playing machine box. What I decided to do is just to use some old wood, khaki old bits of plywood. These are 3mm and I'm trying to flatten them out a little bit. And I've got some strips of wood, a huge great crack in the middle of that. So I'm going to try and build it out of those. I want some MDF shelves that aren't needed anymore. This is a nice challenge. And now my brain is functioning properly, I'm right up for a challenge. I can't even think about watching any more daytime television. So yesterday I just sat here and I thought, let's start sketching. I actually wanted to. So I've sort of got plans, and you know when you're thinking about things and they don't quite work, and then you suddenly think, let's build a frame like that for the back, etc, etc. So I'm now going to start building this. Another thing I realised was, of course, you know, as you may know, that I've now finished developing this, and I've actually listed them on Etsy, these wedding invites, party invite things. Beautiful, multi-layers, shiny. And as always, I do like ideas, machines to do something. So there's a little boiler down there that drives a piston here, steam, that turns this, that's got a counterweight there, and also somehow feeds 4 shell lamps with gas. Not quite sure how, but that's nice. So everything has a little purpose. Oh yes, there is a governor. Look, there's even a governor. There has to be a centrifugal governor. And I realised that I could make a load of these kits up in these card-backed envelopes and also take them to Whitby as well and just see how they go. It'd be a really good opportunity to see what people are prepared to pay for things like this, and you know, you can just get a really good feel for it. Lovely. So I'm going to be cutting, in fact I think I'm going to start cutting that out, some more of them now. I'm on a roll. When I cut out that metallic card, I rest it on this stuff because it's just larger than the silly little honeycomb thing underneath. This is actually air conditioning grill type stuff. It's perfect. It's made of aluminium. It's really quite stable. And I was thinking, well, I need to keep cutting these things out. There's the design. It just fits on A3. Not by chance, I hasten to add. How to line them up, because I'm going to be doing loads of them. So then I thought, let's make a piece of wood. Here's a piece of wood, and I've sanded it down. So look, it just fits through. Now I can cut that into 4 pieces and then use it to make 4 little pegs. It is such a joy feeling better. It really is. That's what I'm talking about. It's so simple. Rather than struggling with everything, now I can just, it makes it an absolute joy, because this pushes hard up against the side and the front of the machine, so I know that's square. It's ideal, and it means I can put them changing around for doing other jobs. Let's get some cut out. Oops. Note to self, sand them all down a bit so that when the laser goes around the outside it doesn't bang into them and jam all the stepper motors. We have another problem, Houston. If I test it, which basically traces around the outside, it doesn't fit. And I'll tell you why it doesn't fit. Because the people I get the card off, I bought A3, slightly quieter. It's not A3, it's like a couple of mil shorter. So I've gone back to the design phase with my newfound vigour and joys of spring. And these sides, the folding flat bits, were 5mm deep. So now they're 4.5, which means I've gained 1.5mm over the whole thing. Yes, err on the side of caution, then hopefully it'll fit now. Brilliant. I've just worked out I can get the pieces to make the back frame that's actually going to take the weight of the machine from these bits and cut out. Don't need that rubbishy bit in the middle. And this piece of ply is just big enough to get a front and back panel from. I do apologise, I got a little bit carried away and I've been getting on with it without filming it. Let me show you what I've done so far. I've built a frame out of really badly warped wood, although it's sort of flat now. And now I've even had to put a bit up the middle because I want to glue and pin this to it, which will give it rigidity, but this is really badly warped as well. So next job, glue around the side, and I can sit here and hammer lots of little pins in to hold it while the glue sets. I have a horrible suspicion that this carrying case is going to weigh more than the ukulele playing machine. Just put this front or back panel together and the weight is increasing exponentially. I'm now just making the 2 side panels, which need to be strong because they're going to stop the whole thing toppling over, so to speak. So I'm using this lovely old hole cutter because I'm just making the handles so that I can carry it. It's going to weigh an absolute ton. It's probably going to need 2 people to carry it. My dad's old one, really nice. It was Black & Decker, I think, in the old days when they were a decent company. And you know, you just slot them on and then just leave the actual cutter that you want, and it spins around and cuts the hole. So let's get some holes cut, or marked out and cut, possibly best in that order. Here's a question. What have chickens and Whitby got in common? It's not steampunk, it's chickens today. Because we've got so many foxes around, we've had to build them a sort of fortress. It's such a shame. They can come out and peck around, which they love when we're in the garden. But, you know, we've got an electric fence all around here because of the foxes. We've got netting over the top to stop foxes going over there. Luckily, this used to be the kids' sand pit. And our original lot of chickens, say it quietly, were eaten by a fox that did manage to get into our old coop. But now they've got this lovely place to peck about, scratch about, and the kids' old playhouse as the coop. But we're going to Whitby, and the chickens do love a nice little deep sea motif. So yeah, we're going to Whitby, so I need to install an automatic door opener so that when we're away they can still come and go as they please. They are beautiful things. They really are, and amazing. They turn kitchen waste into beautiful eggs. Absolutely gorgeous. So I've decided I'm going to fix it to the door, which will make life easier because I can take that indoors because it's freezing out here. There's the electric fence switch just outside the back door. It's really nice and easy to remember. Switch it off before you go out. There's the thing that actually runs the electric fence. 11,600 volts through the nose of a fox. Ha! It's enough to put them off. Electric fences are quite interesting actually because they pulse. That one, our one connects to the mains, just pulses every second or two, 11,000 volts. But it needs to be earthed because it's all well and good for Mr. Fox to come up and touch his nose on this wire, one of these stainless steel wires that run through it. But it needs to be grounded, so one side of the electric machine comes down here to a big earth stake, so that's earthed. And then I realised after I'd put all this on and got it going that actually concrete paving blocks act as a good insulator. So we put some chicken wire down. You can just see it perhaps, which is perfect because that's grounded, and that means that a fox, even if it walks up this middle bit, will still be grounded. Touch that and zap. They're such funny creatures, so inquisitive. Want to know what's going on. They're not frightened of anything really. Bless them. As always, I didn't do anything by halves. Look at that door. I have to say, well, it's made from pitch pine that the school were chucking out, as always. Rescued that, and that's lovely because it's really moisture resistant. Look at all the bracing though. Crazy. During the meanwhile, though, that has been drying. So I've got however many sides that is done. That is really solid. I'm pleased with that. Nice carrying handles. I've just got to get this front bit on, and of course the piece of wood I cut, it was inevitable. I've cut it to fit inside these two, and it should have been fitting on. It's no big deal. Hopefully everything will still fit together. Always happens though. I'll move all this out of the way and we'll get on with the chicken door. For those of you wondering what a chicken door kit is, it's one of these. I did lots of research and stuff, and I've so far at least been very impressed with this from whatever it is, well, chickenguard.com, no affiliation, as always. You get a unit which is battery powered, and it's got a light sensor on it and clocks and things, and it's got a little motor in it. I'll show you actually. A little motor, isn't that nice? That winches up this piece of string that's got a bead on it, and when the bead gets to a certain height, I think it pushes that one or something, and there's a titchy little magnet in there, and I assume there's a magnetic sensor on the other side of the printed circuit board. So that's really clever. So when you want it open, it just winches the string in, and when it wants to close, it closes it. There's the door with, very clever patented, look, when you pull on the string, it pulls these two locks in, which means that a fox, when the gate's down the door, it can't actually be opened by a predator, hopefully, and then it basically just have two tracks that it slides up and down in. Isn't that clever? Yeah, like I say, I've been very impressed so far with the quality and the design as well, just appreciating design. Very impressed with how this thing has been made, and it's also been designed and manufactured in the UK. dun, dun, dun. That's amazing. You very rarely see that. And the quality is fantastic. It's so nice not to see made in China printed on the back of some horrible poor quality moulding. It's really nicely made. Well, that wasn't too bad at all. It's really easy to do. And now if you pull up on this, you can see, look, there's a little thing that sticks out. As you pull up, it frees it, so it actually does lock in place. And then it just slides up and slides down again. Clever, I like that design. That's novel. So the last bit to do is to fix on the this bit over the top, so the string hangs down, connecting to the door. A really nice design. I have to say it again. Right, that's all sliding. I've got that fixed on using brass fittings, nuts and bolts, because obviously they don't rust. It's so nice even to have a little plug like that, because they could have saved some money and soldered these straight onto the printed circuit board. But to be able to unplug that so you can easily get to this and fix it down. It pulls the string round the shape, so when it's under tension, that moves down, and once the door is right down, it releases it. Isn't that clever? Really clever novel design, and obviously lovely seal round it and everything. Right, stop talking about it. Get some batteries, which it came with, I hasten to add. Don't know how good a quality they are, but that's something, and get it all together, see what happens. Just one last thing about this. This has obviously been moulded as well, made as part of this, because as well as holding 4 AA batteries, it's got room for a little coin cell in the end. And the destructions say, first time ever reading destructions, but they say that that's to, if the batteries fail that do all the driving of the motor, that'll remember the time for the clock. Isn't that nice? Beautiful. And there's a socket on the outside for power supply, and a USB socket. I don't know what that does. Perhaps you can run it from 5 volts. I don't know. Anyway, even the menu is brilliant. It's so easy. It scrolls the different instructions. Someone's taken so much care over this. It's really nice and simple to use with these 3 buttons. Oh, it's lovely. It's all set up. You can choose several different ways of opening it. I've chosen timer, but there's manual where you can just tell it when you want it to open and close. There's also the light sensor, so you can say when it gets too bright, open it. When it gets too dark, close it, which is nice, because the chickens always go in after it's dark. Or you can have a combination of timer and that. So let's just start simply though. So now I'm going to have some lunch, and I'm going to go and install this back on the chicken coop. There we are, all installed nicely. Now the chickens have to learn how to use it. Chickens aren't the brightest creatures in the world. They're very sweet. I love the way they look at things. Amazing. Oh look, someone's going to try it. During the day they know. Oh yes, look at that. Big banana feet. Ethel, the biggest chicken in the world. Well, she's not, but biggest one of our little lot. Yeah, look at that. Brilliant. So hopefully this evening that'll lower. That's great. Very pleased with that. Ta-da! As always, I've been forgetting to video stuff. But in the end, I managed to get the 2 screws that the keyhole fittings go on in the right place. Measured and marked. And they just wouldn't fit, so I had to drill a hole and glue some dowel in and then redo that one by about 1 millimetre over. How frustrating. Never mind. And I'm just gluing on these front pieces so that panel of plywood can go on there. And I've got 2 bits of wood with felt on just to support the bottom of it, so most of the weight is transferred down to the base. Lovely. I'll leave that to set. There's the offending item, and on the back you can see, I think I mentioned it before, but there's 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 keyhole fittings because it's so heavy, and a little stand with 2 bits of chain that can come out so it can stand on a table. Lovely. It's the next day. I've just come downstairs and look, it's opened by itself. Isn't that lovely? The chickens have all come out. It's absolutely freezing, but they don't seem to mind at all. Here's some proof of our fox activity. Completely invisible in the summer. Even though Ziggy can instantly smell and try and trace them, it's incredible. But only when you get the frost and longer grass can you see these really well defined fox tracks. Enough about chickens and foxes and chicken doors. I promise I won't mention them again, even though I have just seen a fox walk past the front window mid-morning. Anyway, stop. Now, let me show you the machine in its carrying case. Will you look at that? It fits a treat, like a hand in a glove or a foot in a sock. And then while I was thinking about it, I've also cut out that piece, cut it down so it fits perfectly around here. I thought, all this wasted space. I do or don't like wasted space. I like using it. Now, I always take these are the gauges. The original models are absolutely filthy because I don't look after anything. That I use to photograph and make all the decorative lenses from, because one person on Etsy even suggested they looked like they were really badly designed on computer. He did actually take it back in the end when I actually showed him the photographs of these real models that I'd carefully set up and photographed. Anyway, I take them with me because I have them just to show. It attracts people over to all the gauges, the small decorative ones. And I remember trying to pile them in a box the last few shows and then getting me more damaged. I've got room in the bottom of this. With some of that nice white foam, I can make some little holders to support these. So that's nice. And I've also got the motorised one that I made up that was again filthy. Application of some water and a tissue, and it's nice. I'm just getting that working. It's so enjoyable because I just thought, let's do this properly. Here's one of the little battery holders. They run for days on 2AA batteries. Use that multi-purpose so it acts as a stand. Well, it will do when the bottom is on and the batteries are in. This is what I mean by this exciting foam thing stuff. It's two layers stuck together, actually bonded together in some way. It's squidgy and absorbent, and you can cut it beautifully with a knife or a bandsaw. And that can make some really nice overcomplicated supports for them along the bottom. I just remembered, I've also got all the connecting tubes to put in and a power supply. They can sort of go up and down in there. Right, it's time to get some foam out. Got lovely clean gauges now though, which is nice. I've got the back bits made, the supports. Because we have so little room, it's amazing how much stuff managed to accrue over a few shows. But with two of the 6-foot trestle tables or something or whatever, they would just fill them up so quickly. So having these standing up, we can have all the ones for sale sort of sitting flat and around them. Should just be a nice little interesting feature. There's the one that's moving, and that'll just keep on moving for days, if not weeks, on 2AA batteries, which is nice. I've changed my mind again, because there's room for all that there, and I thought, hold on a minute. Just two little bits of slots, two slots cut in, two pieces of that foam. Look! Just sits out of the way, it's protected, can't go anywhere. How fantastic. And I thought, well, I've done that one, let's do the other ones. This does cut extraordinarily well. It's beautiful to cut. I'll show you first of all on the bandsaw. That's the bandsaw. Look at that. That's gorgeous. And then his scalpel. That's a scalpel. I've been cutting some slots, those grooves actually, in those bits, just with a scalpel with a bit of masking tape on. Look. You don't have to saw it or anything. It's absolutely gorgeous to cut because it's so low density, and then just trim out the bottom. Also, what I discovered was scalpels can cut thumbs. But luckily, I had some super glue to hand, so I've built myself a nice second skin. To top it up a few times when blood started leaking out. But yes, don't try that at home, remember, use a plaster. Look at that, we've got 4 gauges installed. They just lift in and out of this lovely foam piece. So that's nice. And they don't touch that, so I can reach in and get them out first and then get that out. Thanks very much for watching. I reckon that's going to be about 20 minutes. Chickens and enclosures. Remember that it's Whitby on the 10th and 11th of February this year. That's right. Really looking forward to it now. If you've got any questions or queries, please put them in the comments. Please remember to click like, subscribe and stuff. Oh, I've just remembered. I want to start working on a new project. I've mentioned it before, and it's going to be a smaller version of an automaton head sitting on a much smaller wooden cabinet that possibly could be sold as a kit. But actually, I'll talk about it next time rather than just wittering on. Thanks again. Hope to see you next time.